So we have our character that's able to load now. It's not moving, of course, so that's what we're gonna do next. So we go back to our BP hero character blueprint. We can delete these two since we won't be using them. And we're gonna start with a event play. So the first thing that we need to get is a controller. So let's go get controller, and it will be this one here. From here, we need to add a cast player controller. So let's go cast to player controller. Okay. So from here, we need to get the information from the player. So pull from as player controller. Are we going to search for get enhance input local player subsystem. Now from here, we're going to go and add mapping context. And this is going to allow us to select the one that we created earlier. Okay. We also need to add the following. So if we right click on the event taking play, we need to search for add call to parent function. Since remember, this is your child that we're playing with, not the main one. The main one was this one, the PP character. We just need to ensure that it's always searching for the parent so we don't get any errors later on. And I'm pressing Q to level all of them out. Okay, so it looks nice and even. Then we're gonna click compile and then we're gonna click save. Now we're gonna try to add the jump. Okay, so we're gonna go right click and we're gonna search for IA jump, and that's the one that we just created earlier, remember? So if we click on that and we can expand it, and we're gonna say every time we press the button it's gonna start and it's gonna do jump. Okay, so every time you press the button it's gonna start jumping. The next thing that we need to do is when we complete the action, it stops jumping. And that's it for jumping. Let me double check if I put everything correctly. One thing that didn't connect was this. So now it should let us do it after that. Let's try again. It's save, play. So now it is jumping. Cannot move yet, but I can jump. Okay. So next thing that I wanna do is add the movement. So let's go again, right click, IA move, and then we're gonna expand this again. What we need to do is we need to add movement input. So let's search for a movement input. So add movement input right here. So it just recognizes that the character is going to be moving in a certain axis. And I want to place, when I press this button, it's going to move. Okay. The other thing I want to do is tell it what axis are we moving on. So if we're going to search for break vector 2D, this is going to allow it to break in the X and the Y. So we will select this here, and we're going to tell it here that we want it to move on the positive 1. So if we go on save now and try it, let's see what happens. It's moving now. However, I cannot move back up and down yet. Right, so let's select this and paste it. I'm going to put this back to 0. I'm going to connect this and grab my Y and connect it to the scale value. And I double click on my image so I can just break it and make it neater. Right, so let's say I want to move on the Y this time. Y, we do not put just one here. It's going to be for the following reason. So if I go to save and play, and I'm gonna go left, right, and if I try to go up or down, what's gonna happen? So if I press W, it's gonna go down. If I press S, it's gonna go up. So we need to ensure that this becomes a -1. Okay. Save again, and now play. So it's gonna go left, right, up, and down. However, my character is not turning when I'm moving a certain area. So let's go back here. I'm gonna save again. And now what I wanna do is I wanna create a function to be able to make the character rotate. Okay, so under functions, we're gonna click new function, and let's call this one uh, hero rotation. Okay, and I need to get my character movement. We're gonna pull from here, and we're gonna search for get velocity all the way to the end, and that should be it. We can right click and then split the struct bin. So that will allow us to see what axis are we moving on. Right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to get a compare float. So I want to be able to compare if I'm going one way, if it's greater than 1, which is x moving that way, it's going to do one thing, and if it's going the other way, it's going to do another thing. So let's make sure that we connect the x, because that's what I want to compare to the input. And let's also connect this to this. Okay. Right, so we want to make sure that we're connecting, and we're going to check if it's valid. And it's just going to check if it's true or not. Okay. Now, so what I need to do is get controller, and I'm going to connect this to the top. So input object is being connected to the controller. We're going to pull from this bin, and we're going to search for set control rotation, which you're going to get here, and we're going to connect that is valid. And now we need to select the new rotation. So in here we're going to go down, and we're going to search for make space rotator, and this is what we get. Because we don't want it to change while we are here, we can just leave it like that. What we need to do now is copy this here and duplicate it again. So Control C, Control V. Again, when it's not working, we're gonna connect it here. And this time I wanted to change 180 degrees on set. So that way it's facing the other way. And let's try to make it a bit cleaner now. Save and then compile. Event graph. Be able to see what we're doing. So we told it what to do, but the computer needs to pick it up. So we can create an event tick. So it checks every time. So we click event tick, right click, and again, add call to parent function. So it always checks the parent just in case we don't want any errors later on. And the last thing we're going to check is called that we created hero rotation. So then it's checking that, and we'll make sure that it's checking what rotation we're on. Compile, save, and then let's go back to our character. And now we go right, and then we go left, and you can see the character is going in the rotation that we want. The next video, we will start doing animation for our characters.